Okay, I think I am live on Facebook, and I think I'm live on Instagram, but that light fixture, maybe I'll just switch strategically, because that is a little glary, I can tell. Hi guys! Okay, as promised, I'm here, I'm live. I'm sorry about the glare of these glasses. I don't think I'm gonna sit like this the whole time, but that definitely makes it easier. Hi! So, as promised, I am going to be chatting today about how to have a really successful, warm and cozy, wonderful winter wedding. Now, I know that it is, you might feel if you're having a winter wedding that it might be a little bit late for you to be planning some of these elements and getting organized with some of this, but it's definitely not. It is never too late. You can always make tweaks and changes. Obviously, as planner, I want to be working further ahead and not having to troubleshoot like close to your wedding. So December, January, February weddings of of December 2019 and then 2020. That's like ideally it would be better to plan further ahead, but we are still having clients hire us for this winter, which is totally fine, totally doable. We love to jump on board at any point. Planning ahead, always the best thing to do though. So any of you that are thinking about your winter wedding now, take some notes. I will also add that most of these notes are applicable no matter what type of wedding that you're having. So let's chat about it. Winter weddings are wonderful. Oh, sorry, pause. Type your questions if you have any. This is Q&A, but as you know, or maybe don't, I am starting to add topics in here as well, just because I think kind of gets the ball rolling too, and sometimes you don't know what to ask or what you should be asking. So I am starting with a topic, and you guys can jump in with any related or non-related questions you have. So type away, and I will interject as needed. So winter weddings are wonderful. There's definitely the big boss. Who's the big boss? Me? Sometimes. Winter weddings are wonderful. They can be magical. It can be so dreamy. It can be just like a winter wonderland. That's the ideal, right? That it's snowy and lovely and it's the beautiful, like big fluffy snow. And you can capture that via photos. The reality is most of the time in winter in Manitoba is -40, -50 with a wind chill. It's not that nice. Being outside for photos is great for 5 minutes and then you want to be done. So there's a lot of variables that you kind of need to plan into it. I'm going to start with a few like really basic things, some things that I feel are obvious, but maybe they're not. I don't know. After a while, when you've done this for a while, it can be hard to remember what is no longer obvious because you do it every day. So do not make your bridesmaids wear short dresses. Let them wear full-length dresses. Let them put long johns under those dresses. Do not expect you're going to be outside in your heels. That is just miserable for everybody. Get a good pair of boots. Let your bridesmaids have a good pair of boots and let them wear them under their dresses. Discreet is great. Work for that. But if you're going outside and you have expectations for outside photos, boots, boots, guys, boots. You will be warming up your toes the whole rest of the day, the whole rest of the evening. It's miserable. Just don't. Just please get that out of your mind. Don't do it, okay? Just don't do it. Trust me. I'm not saying you have to have all these like cutesy photos with all the boots because it's winter. No, you can hide them under your dress, but don't wear heels outside. 1, you might fall. 2, your feet will freeze instantly. And 3, you're outside in winter. Please just, okay, enough there. So next note to that is if you're doing any photos outside at all and you have live flowers, expect they will die almost instantly. They will last, well, they won't. They just won't last. They'll last for just a little bit. They might look okay. They might look fine. You bring them inside the moment they like kind of come back to, I don't know the science, but the moment like they start to come to room temperature, you'll see the wilting, you'll see the discoloration, they'll start to look brown. It'll look like freezer burn because that's exactly pretty much what happened. So if you are wanting to do photos outside with your flowers, plan it for later. So have your photos outside earlier, before the ceremony, no flowers. Have your ceremony, flowers inside, wonderful, happy. Do some photos maybe outside after the ceremony. I would still say no flowers, because if you want your flowers, your bouquets to be at any point decoration in the reception, they'll look sad. So if you want to have any photos outside with your real flowers, do like late night photos, or have your bouquet not part of the centerpiece, the decor plan, and have it just like photos outside with it after the ceremony, and then it gets hidden somewhere. I've never seen a live flower bouquet hold up after outside photos when it's minus. So I just don't plan it as part of the decor. It's probably not going to work. On that note, you can get a silk. You can get a silk arrangement, a silk bouquet. Sorry, not arrangement, silk bouquet. I'm hungry. I haven't had supper yet. Brain's a little off. You can get a silk bouquet. Totally great for outside. If you are dead set on having your flowers in everything, get yourself something silk. Just do it. Just go on that route, because you're going to be disappointed with your live flowers otherwise. Now, next to this is you need to plan for bad weather. You need to plan for the cold. Just like people with summer weddings and tent weddings and outdoor elements have to plan for the weather, you need to too. Driving delays, icy roads, things like that, you need to plan for that. You need to get organized for that. When I'm working with my planning couples or my coordination couples, we always bring in time delays and time nuggets in the schedule for drive time, for weather, for everything that's going on seasonally, for Jets games, for anything that might slow them down. So you need to be thinking about this. And you need to also factor in your guests will be affected by this too. If there's all of a sudden a freak snowstorm, you might have to start late. That's reality. A few years ago, I had a Stonewall wedding, which was wonderful. Hi, Crystal. A Stonewall wedding, but everyone was driving out. And this was November, beginning of November. So day before, we had the rehearsal. Rows were great. Wedding day, what happened? Freak snowstorm. Everything went crazy. And things just were delayed. Beautiful though. It was so beautiful. It snowed enough that it was like a nice amount on the ground, beautiful fluffy snow. Everything was just lovely and covered. And the aesthetic of the wedding was perfect. It was wonderful. Avoid tent weddings in October. Yeah, we can talk about that a little bit, but yeah, tent weddings in October or November aren't a good idea. Beginning of October, depending on the venue, could be a possibility, but you will be inside the tent. Anything that's normally at that property or venue that is outside will not happen. Your guests won't want to do it. They won't do it. It's just not a thing. So don't plan that. That's not a good idea. And also, like, remember this year we had that freak weird snowstorm in October. I remember hearing about some weddings that really were affected, and that's so sad. So you need to know that with climate change and also Manitoba being Manitoba, you're going to have really random things happen sometimes, and really random weather that you've got to just work with. So on top of this, I know I'm talking about some like negatives and some troubleshooting, but there are some pros to winter weddings, which I know most of you winter wedding couples already know about, but I'm going to throw them at you anyway. So sometimes you get venue discounts for off-season stuff. This is not a guarantee. Some venues have winter promos. Also, some vendors do. Generally, like florists or hairstylists or makeup artists or people like that aren't going to. They work all year round. They're always busy anyways. And often a lot of them have such small margins as it is because of hard costs that that's just not a factor for them. So I say that just to point out that, I mean, I'm a small business owner. I know what this is like. The struggle is real, and you need to make a living wage so that you can, feed yourself and like wear clothes without holes and stuff. And also maybe take a holiday every couple of years, whatever that looks like for you. But you just need to know that a winter wedding doesn't always equal a cheaper wedding. A winter wedding doesn't always equal discounts on everything, but sometimes it does. So when you're planning, it doesn't hurt to ask. It doesn't hurt to check into that. There will definitely be some vendors that they do have that, or they're not busy at that time of year and they'd love to land a winter wedding. So ask them. Just don't have it as the motivating factor for your winter wedding. Sometimes like photographers or venues will be more likely to have that. Fall weddings. Oh, I love fall weddings. They are my favorite. Fall weddings are by far my favorite. I love summer, obviously. Tent weddings, backyard weddings, all of that are our specialty. Anything outside is wonderful to us, except winter because I don't like it. I love winter weddings, but -40 is not my jam. I think my threshold is like -10. But I will say, just like summer weddings, we have emergency kits that are prepared for the seasons, prepared for what's going on. So I always keep lots of blankets for winter weddings. This is something that's specifically to them. I always keep lots of blankets in my car. I keep some umbrellas because if you want to do outdoor photos and it's snowing too much and it's getting on you, sometimes you have to have people like propped up in the back, like behind the scenes of your photos to kind of make sure you're not getting all snowy. I have a couple pairs of boots, extra socks, different pairs of shoes. I usually am wearing a not usually, I'm always wearing a long dress so I can put long johns under it. Backyard weddings are my favorite. I know, they're wonderful. I love them. They're my favorite to plan as well. But yeah, I'm usually wearing long johns under my dress because the last thing you want is your wedding planner to be cold and they're not functioning properly. But there's lots of different things that you kind of need to think about. Those are some of the things that we think about. Now, on the side of your vendors, when you're having a winter wedding and photos are outside photos are something you really want to have, and for videography, you need to talk to your vendors and you need to kind of plan this out and time this out with them and with your planner. We know fairly good what a videographer and photographer will kind of need in that realm. Like, I'm not going to schedule 3 hours of outside photos. Equipment will seize up, things will not work. And some vendors, rarely I will say, will not do outside photos in the cold. They might say, okay guys, like if it's -40, we got to rework this. Or if it's minus whatever, we got to rework this because things won't work. But generally they'll go outside. But this will be a real conversation that needs to be had because of their equipment. And that's something that they'll be honest with you about. And we will also, as planners, be honest about, because nobody wants to replace a $3,000 camera. So those are things you really need to just think about as well. That's a lot of stuff to do with winter weddings. There are lots of stories and things that I could say about winter weddings or things that could potentially go wrong. I've written a few blog posts about winter weddings and how to plan for them really well. Thoughts on weddings that fall on other events in New Year's, Halloween. Sorry, I'm not sure what you mean by that. What are my thoughts on having themed weddings, or what are my thoughts on weddings that fall on holidays? Maybe you can elaborate for me. I've written a few blog posts about how to have successful backyard weddings, how to have successful winter weddings, all these sorts of things, kind of how to make those functional and to work with that. I think that you need to, the biggest part in any type of seasonal situation you have to work with, weddings that fall on holidays. What are my thoughts on them? Like, is it a faux pas, or are guests going to hate it, or how to make it functional? Maybe you can tell me what part of that you're wanting. I can answer all of that too, but hi. So take your time to really think this through and be realistic. My biggest piece of advice, this is where I was going with that, is be realistic with what you're working with. If you're having a winter wedding, you need to know it's going to be cold. You can't expect to have the one fluke wonderful day in all of winter and it's going to be all yours. You can be hopeful. You can call it in from the universe, pray it out to God, but you need to plan guest expectations. Yes, I'll talk about that. You need to plan for the worst and expect the best, but just know that there's going to be variables that are out of your control. This happens at tent weddings. This happens at winter weddings. This happens all the time. So just plan for it. Be prepared. Know that your trunk or your limo should have more things in it. Be stocked. Those little, I forget what they're called. Someone can maybe chime in and tell me. Those little like heat packs that you can like press and then they get all hot. Those can be really great if you're doing outdoor photos. Those can be a really nice resource Take care of your wedding party. Please take care of them. Please have like breakfast food, a nice warm meal. Even like if you want to, this isn't like a big thing, but like have hot cocoa in a few thermoses or warm tea that you bring along for photos or during the day. That will go a long ways. If you're anything like, well, most of the world, you get hangry. I was going to say anything like me. Hot chocolate will fix all. Or tea. So just prepare for this. Prepare for this. Get your wedding party involved as well if you're bridesmaids or anything. Hot paws or hot pockets. Yes, thank you. That's what they're called. So just get prepared for all of this. Be ready for it. There are lots of cute decor things that you can do with winter weddings. Pinterest is covered in all of this, but a few things that like you can incorporate into your bar, because I am thinking about winter cocktails. So let's talk about that. You can have like a hot apple cider station and then like a cute little signage that says, want to spike your drink? Here's some liquor options, head to the bar, or things like that, or hot chocolate as well. And then make sure that you have those things available. Liquor laws don't allow them to spike it themselves, so they have to like have that little station and then go over to the bar, or however you want to work that. You can have like warm cookies or warm towels or cozy blankets or things like that when people come in. Ambiance is so nice when you're coming in from the cold, and it's kind of having candles going. If you're in a venue that has a fireplace, get that going, make it warm, make it cozy. Use your aesthetics to create warmth as well. So think like plum colors and champagne and gold. You can go in like the silvers and like the winter wonderland as well. But if you're wanting to create like that warm, cozy feeling, go in that direction a little bit more. Marsala is really great for that as well. Emerald green can be touched in too. So there's some decor kind of ideas there. You can also just kind of do whatever you want. As far as colors go, the only kind of thing that I'm going to say with decor for winter weddings is if you have really beautiful spring colors in mind, like bright blues and pops of pink, you need to be strategic with that, because it's going to feel really funny and out of place if you don't do it right. That's where we really get involved with the design side of our planning with our couples, is like taking what they love aesthetically and personality wise and infusing it into their wedding day and their decor plans, just to make sure that the season makes sense and the choices make sense and their personalities coming through, but things don't feel like out of place. There's some things that you can do that can really be like, oh, and it kind of like creates this weird confusion, almost subconsciously for your guests when they come in. This is not a winter related question example, but I was chatting with my bride Jennifer the other day, and she was talking about having chair sashes here, and then the centerpiece is really bright, and then these linens here, and there was going to end up, we were spitballing some ideas, and it would have been too many things, and your eyes wouldn't know where to go. So when you come in the room, there needs to be something that grounds it and something that your kind of eyes go towards. And so sometimes that can be the case if you're having a winter wedding and you're picking colors that kind of don't make sense for that winter wedding. So I would avoid those really pastels. Again, unless your designer and florist, your wedding planner really knows how to bring it together so it's cohesive and makes sense and is still warm and kind of winter appropriate. I could dig into that a lot more. Again, I can send you over to the blog again, because there's a lot of really great resources about design and how to bring that in. And that's something we spend a lot of time on with our planning clients as well, just kind of bringing it together. And Pinterest can be a big, overwhelming smozzle of ideas. So. Okay, so sorry, was it Christy? Chris? I don't remember who asked this question. I think it was Chris that asked this. Hi. About guests' expectations when you have a wedding on a holiday. That's a great, great question. I think Halloween, I think that's wonderful. Go on and have it. Halloween, like, unless you're me and you're not having a dress up costume Halloween party, I'm probably going to be annoyed. Because Halloween weddings should be dress-up weddings because you picked Halloween. Hello, it's Halloween. You should have candy. You should have great desserts. It should be really fun. It doesn't have to be spooky. It can be really fun. And it should be costume related or themed in some way. So I think Halloween is like a free-for-all. Do whatever you want. I don't think there's going to be a lot of disappointment as far as like, you picked Halloween, now I can't do this. As long as you make it fun for them, I don't think they're going to have a problem. Christmas, I would just straight up say avoid it. most of the time everyone is crazy, crazy busy in December anyways. There's gatherings and parties. Hi, Maria. And kids stuff and wrapping presents and decorating. There's a lot to throw in a wedding in there where they have to, don't take this as negative, but this is another thing on their to-do list. They have to buy you a gift. They have to write you a card. They have to pick out an outfit. They have to get the whole family dressed up. Then they need to show up and dedicate a lot of time in a very busy season. So I'm gonna say that Christmas and the busyness of Christmas is gonna overshadow your wedding and the joy that could be happening on your wedding. I will put a small caveat to this. If you're having a really intimate, simple wedding that's like 20, 30 people and just your closest people, I'm not sure they're gonna care either way. They wanna be there for you. They love you. They love you. They're gonna show up. I will say the flip side to that, I'm sorry, I know I'm giving you lots of options, but you asked. The flip side of that is if you're having such an intimate wedding, you might want to just ask them, hey, do you prefer like I have like a mid-January wedding or is Christmas okay? They'll probably say they want you to wait, I would guess. I would say that. But it's your family, and if that is something that you've always envisioned and like Christmas wedding, oh, it's so beautiful and so romantic, go for it. Just know that it comes with a few variables. I had a wedding a few years ago, unfortunately, and I don't know exactly why this happened, but about two full tables didn't come for the reception. They RSVP'd, we had their meals prepared, everything. They just didn't come. I don't know what happened there. They were at the ceremony and then they weren't there. So it was really sad. That's really sad. And this was really, really close to Christmas. So these sorts of things happen. I would say that amount of people is probably a fluke. But just know that things like this are a factor, and you might just have less people at your wedding, which might not be a con to you, because if you have so many people you want to invite, but really budget is more dictating for you, then that could be an interesting way to weed people out. Let's talk about long weekends for just a second, because that's a big factor here in Manitoba. Everyone wants to go to the lake on the long weekends in summer. I'm going to wrap it up after this note, so if you have any other questions, now is your moment to type it, because I have to keep building shelves by my fireplace, and I need to make supper. I'm just going to also show you this because I've been having a lot of fun with my like 70s elf or 60s elf. I have been like using him in, look at that nose. I've been using him in like Advent stuff for my husband because I geek out about this. I'll post on Instagram. But like Elfie just gave Marshall a bunch of presents, and he just happens to be sitting here because I hid the presents up on the shelf over there. Anyways, just thought I'd throw that in there because I'm kind of going crazy about Christmas. I'm loving it quite a lot. Okay, back to answering. Long weekends. I'm going to say that people aren't going to like it. I'm going to say that they're not going to be happy about it. And I'm going to say avoid them. I know that's very straight up, but that is just the kind of answers you're going to get from me. Just avoid them. Unless you're having a lot of people traveling from out of town, and they also, from where they're coming from out of town, are also having that Monday as a holiday or that Friday as a holiday, and they're coming from out of town and this helps them financially or travel-wise to have that long weekend. Unless that's the factor, I would say avoid long weekends. I know it's really tricky. I know it's super hard to be able to pick a date, and sometimes the venue you want isn't available except that date. Generally, your guests will not like that you picked a long weekend. It limits them to being able to go away on a weekend that they could normally go away, and they're getting paid on that Monday, but now they can't actually utilize it. So hopefully that helps enough answer that. What other holidays would there be that people would probably, Thanksgiving is also tricky. That also kind of falls into a little bit of a smaller realm of Christmas. How people don't really want to have too many things around that because they already got a lot going on. I generally rule of thumb recommend avoiding holidays if you can. Avoid them if you can. Again, unless it is like your like utterly biggest dream to get married on that day or near that day, or it's what you've always wanted, Think about your guests. They're very important. Hosting a wedding is like hosting a big dinner party. You're not going to ask people to bring their own meal. You're not going to ask them to bring their own liquor, unless it's potluck, but that's another thing. You're hosting a big dinner party. You're going to provide them food and wine, and you're going to host them, and someone's going to clear the table, and there's going to be some sort of probably dessert. If they've got an allergy, you're going to take care of them. And you're going to try and be accommodating because you want them to be there. So think about it a little bit that way as well. Okay. I got a couple just silly questions, like what are you asking for Christmas? I am asking for, I think I asked for some plants as per usual. I asked for a tray to go on my bathtub, which I already helped Marshall build because I had specs and I wanted to stain it specifically, so I already know I'm getting that. My mom and I kind of did an exchange. We bought each other Oprah tickets, and so we kind of an experience and put our money we would have spent on each other there instead of something else. So we're going to see Oprah in January in Minnie, which is super exciting. Another question I got is what sort of Christmas traditions do you have? We do our advent calendar. We do a movie marathon. Marshall and I do a movie marathon every holiday, and we pick 5-6 movies and we blitz it. I try and pick a few Oscar movies, nominated Oscar movies, which I really loved getting to do. And then we always do Christmas with each family. So my mom and them we do on Marshall's dad and his wife we do Marshall's mom and my dad's in the Philippines, so he's usually just a Skype in kind of situation. And then we do all those. And then Christmas Day, we stay home, we don't go out, no plans, big old open house. Whoever wants to stop in can stop in. We're not leaving the house though. People can come and watch a movie with us or drink some wine or have a snack, just pop in and say hello, but we don't leave, we just stay. So those are a couple Christmas things. I got a few questions miscellaneous about wedding dates and are you booked and and how does this work and how does full planning work. I am taking consults in January and February for 2020. All of my consults are booked for the rest of December. We're closing up shop for over Christmas, so we won't be taking any meetings for the rest of the year. We just finished up yesterday with the rest of our meetings. Oh, I'm sorry, that's a lie. I have one meeting on Friday. One meeting on Friday via Skype that I allowed because her wedding is coming up really soon. And I was like, we got to fit you in before the holidays. So January, February, we'll be doing a ton more consults. We've got a handful of full planning dates still available. So if you still need planning help, our full planning package is really accessible. Without going into crazy detail, I just want to mention it's really accessible for lots of different budgets. It's really customizable so that we can help you with the pieces that we need. There is a few built-in really core planning elements that are always part of this package, but the rest of how we help and structure it is really flexible so that we help you with the vendors you need help with and the elements you need help with so that there's just flexibility on how that all works. And I could talk about that for a long time. I'm going to leave it at that. We do have a handful more of full planning. So if you're not sure what you need, what help you need, just come and meet with us. And we'll talk about coordination and planning and all of the options and go from there. We do also have, we're about halfway booked for all of our consultation dates. So we are halfway booked. Some dates we're already double booked. I've had to turn a handful of couples away already because we're booked for those full weekends. So do reach out sooner than later because we don't want you to miss out. We'll always refer you out to great people as well, but obviously we want to have a chance to work with you too. So that's how that works. And I feel like I'm missing a question. I'm sorry I didn't write it down. That's probably it. If it comes to me, I'll pop back on. If you're catching this and you're catching the replay and you're like, dang it, I had a question, type it, DM me. I will answer them as per usual in some Insta stories afterwards. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, guys, and we will talk to you again soon. Well, I'll probably pop on before Christmas, but I'm just going to say Merry, Merry Christmas, and I hope you have the most wonderful time and you have it spent with family and friends, cozy by a fire, or the logs on the TV or whatever. Thanks, Maria. And yes, I wish you all the best and all the love. Bye, guys.